My name is Olivia Wilson, and at 28 years old, in front of 150 people, my sister framed me as a cheater, played video of me helping her husband with his tie, but her lies backfires as I did this. If you have ever felt betrayed by the people who should have been your biggest supporters, let me know where you are watching from. I was halfway through tying his tie when he let out a trembling giggle and remarked, "If I mess this up again, I'm walking down the aisle looking like a middle schooler." "You're not going to mess it up," I assured him, smoothing the knot into place. "You're just nervous. It's okay." He inhaled forcefully, nodded twice, and murmured something about not being able to feel his hands. I took a step back, gave him a thumbs up, and that was it. 5 seconds, perhaps 8. A sister assisting her prospective brother-in-law to seem presentable in wedding photos. I didn't think about it again until hours later when the reception was fully underway and my sister stood up with the microphone. Everyone applauded, expecting the typical heartfelt thank you speech. She began normally, her voice a little weak, and expressed her gratitude for everyone's presence. Then her tone changed. "I also want to talk about loyalty," she added, as the gathering became quieter, "about trust, about knowing who your real family is." I looked at my mother, who seemed perplexed. My father sat down to drink. My sister's gaze fixed on me because she evidently continued, her voice rising. "Some people think they can just waltz in and try to steal someone else's husband." The applause ceased in mid-clap. Someone clinked their fork against a plate. The DJ paused the music. I felt my face get hot and my chest tighten, but I pushed myself to sit still. She couldn't have been talking about me. She was not talking about me. "Yeah, I'm talking about you," she continued, pointing directly at me. "My own sister at my wedding." The room fell silent in a tangible sense, as if all the oxygen had been pulled out at once. 150 people staring. My mother half stood, mouth gaping. My father murmured something I couldn't hear through the ringing in my ears. I shook my head and attempted to make words, but nothing came out. "You think I didn't notice?" she continued, her voice shaking. "You think I'm stupid? You've been all over him since day one." "I haven't," I began. But she interrupted me. "Don't lie to me," she yelled, eliciting gasps. "I saw you. I've seen everything." I stood up without thinking, my hands raised like I were attempting to calm a savage animal. "I'm not sure what you're talking about. I have not done anything." Her spouse, her brand new husband, sat stuck at the head table, face pale, staring at us as if he had stumbled into a trap. He opened his mouth and closed it again. "You helped him with his tie," she yelled. "You were touching him right before my wedding." "I hadn't noticed. He asked whether I could help. He could not—" She screamed. "I don't care what he asked. You should have said no. You should have known better." My mother finally found her words. "Sweetheart, calm down. This is—" "Don't tell me to calm down," my sister exclaimed, rounding on her. "Everyone's always taking her side as if I'm the crazy one." My throat tightened. Every face in the room was fixed on me, waiting for me to defend myself, explain, and resolve this. However, there was nothing to correct. There was no logic here, no version of reality in which assisting someone in tying a tie constituted betrayal. I looked at my sister's wild eyes and realized she genuinely believed it. She was not performing. She was not exaggerating for effect. She truly believed I had done something unforgivable. "I'm not doing this," I whispered softly, barely heard above the startled hush. "Of course not," she replied, "because you never accept responsibility for anything." I took my bag from the back of my chair. My hands were so shaky that I nearly dropped it. My mother stretched for me and said my name, but I was unable to stay. I couldn't stand there and let her portray me as the villain in front of everyone I knew. I moved toward the exit, shoes clicking too loudly against the floor, and behind me, I heard my sister say, "See, she's running. She knows I'm correct." I did not glance back. I made it 3 steps before my sister's voice broke through the silence again. "Don't you dare walk away from me!" I came to a halt. I'm not sure why. Perhaps a part of me still believed I could reason with her, that if I simply remained calm and explained once more, she'd get it. I turned around. She was now standing, one hand still clutching the microphone and the other pointing at me as if I were on trial. Her face was heated, her eyes hazy, and I couldn't tell if she was going to cry or scream again. "You've been doing this all weekend," she remarked, her voice cracking. "Flirting with him, making little comments, acting like you're so helpful, so sweet, when really you've just been waiting for your chance." "I haven't flirted with anyone," I stated louder than I intended. "I've barely even talked to him." "You were touching him," she exclaimed. "Right before the ceremony in the back room. I saw you." Her husband had finally moved. He stood up, hands extended like he were approaching something fragile. "Babe, she was just helping me with my tie. That's it. I asked her to." She approached him so quickly that he flinched. "Oh, so now you're defending her?" "I'm not defending anyone," he replied swiftly. "I'm just saying what happened. There was nothing. 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 Nothing." She repeated, her voice rising again. "Nothing! You let her put her hands all over you, and you think that's nothing?" My mother was on her feet now, heading toward the head table. "Honey, please, you're upset. Let's just take a breath." "I don't need to take a breath," my sister shouted. "I need everyone to stop acting like I'm imagining this." My father stood slowly, his face stiff. "You're making a scene." "Good," she snapped. "Maybe someone should." The room was still freezing. A couple folks had their phones out, and they weren't even pretending not to record. My uncle was halfway out of his seat, looking at my mother as if he was unsure whether to intervene or not. The bridesmaids sat in a rigid row, eyes wide and mouths closed. Then the projector turned on. Everyone switched their attention to the screen at the far end of the hall. The slideshow. I had forgotten about the slideshow. The first image dominated the wall, huge and unavoidable. We're sitting across from each other at a picnic table, laughing. It was from a family BBQ 2 summers ago, betrayal, when they had just begun dating. Someone had interrupted us in the middle of a board game. We were both grinning like idiots because he had just made the worst move possible and lost miserably. Utterly benign and utterly random. However, with 150 people staring and my sister still holding the microphone, it appeared to be evidence. Someone gave a gasp. I heard it plainly, a quick inhale from somewhere in the rear. My sister's visage twisted into something I couldn't identify. Her mouth opened, then closed before opening again. She looked at the TV, then at me, and finally back to the screen. "Are you kidding me?" she murmured, and the microphone picked it up, sending it reverberating down the corridor. "That's from years ago," I replied swiftly and desperately. "We were playing a game. It's nothing." The image altered. The next snap appeared and my stomach fell. It was from the rehearsal dinner the night before, a candid shot someone must have taken while we were all sitting down for appetizers. I was next to him at the table, leaning slightly in his direction mid-sentence, smiling. He was looking at me, nodding, his expression relaxed and friendly, completely normal, completely explainable. But the way it looked framed like that, blown up on the wall right after my sister's accusation, it didn't feel normal anymore. The room? "Well," she said, almost laughing, "they do look kind of cute together." The murmurs stopped. Everyone turned to look at her. She had a champagne flute in one hand, cheeks pink, and grinned like she just made a harmless joke. She didn't seem to realize what she'd done. My sister's face went blank for half a second, then crumpled. She let out a sound I'd never heard before, something between a sob and a scream, and tossed the microphone onto the floor where it landed with a resounding crack, feedback shrieking through the speakers. "I knew it," she yelled, "and no one believed me." Her husband rushed for her, saying, "Babe, stop, please, this is—" She pushed him away. "Do not touch me." I stood there frozen, staring at the screen as the slideshow cycled to the next image, some generic shot of the bridal party, and felt the entire room's attention shift back to me. "Don't you dare touch me," my mother said, practically running toward the head table, followed by my father. The bridesmaids finally stood, looking at each other as if they were trying to decide whether to help or flee. My sister was sobbing, ugly and loud, with her hands covering her face, while her husband stood next to her, pale and helpless, as if he wished to disappear. "This is absurd," I exclaimed, barely audible. "This is utterly insane." "You ruined my wedding," my sister yelled through her hands. I looked at my mom, my dad, and the 150 people still staring at me. No one was moving to defend me. No one was telling her to stop. So I turned and walked out, this time without stopping. The hallway outside the reception hall was cold and bright, with fluorescent lights humming overhead, and I could still hear her voice through the double doors, muffled but unmistakable, rising and falling in sharp bursts. I leaned against the wall and closed my eyes. My phone buzzed, then again, then 3 more times in quick succession, and I pulled it out. Messages flooded in from cousins, friends, and people I hadn't spoken to in months, half asking if I was okay, the other half wondering what the hell had happened. I didn't respond to any of them. The door flung open and my mother rushed through, her face tense with fear. She saw me right away and took 4 swift strides across the corridor. "Are you all right?" she asked, reaching for my arm. "I'm fine." "You shouldn't have left." I fixed my gaze on her. She hurled a microphone on the ground and accused me of sleeping with her husband in front of 150 people. What was I supposed to do? "I know," she murmured slowly, "but leaving just makes it look like—" "Like what?" I stopped her off. "Like I am guilty?" Mom, there's nothing to be guilty of. She paused, staring back at the doors. I understand, but she's not thinking well right now. She is upset, and others are. My mother winced. Your father is attempting to settle things down. He grabbed the microphone, encouraged everyone to take a break and have another drink. But what? She didn't respond immediately, then softly. Her friends are with her right now, and they're not helping. I knew what she meant. My sister's bridesmaids had always been passionately loyal, the type of bunch that saw every tiny insult as a betrayal. If she told them I was trying to steal her husband, they'd believe her without question. Let me guess, I replied. They're telling her she's right. My mother nodded slowly. I pushed off the wall. I'm leaving. Don't, she responded immediately. Please wait a few minutes. Let your father talk to her. Once she has calmed down, she's not going to calm down. Mom, you don't know that. I do. My voice was harsher than I intended. You saw her face. She is convinced, and nothing I say will change that. My mother opened her lips to complain, but the door swung open again, and my father strode through, looking weary, his tie undone, his jacket unbuttoned, and a small line of sweat running down his hairline. He noticed us and walked over, rubbing his palm across his face. How is she doing? My mom inquired. Not good, he said, looking at her. She wants you to apologize. I laughed, and it came out bitter. For what? She thinks... He paused and amended himself. She says you've been improper all weekend, that you've been attempting to get his attention, and that those photos demonstrate it. Those images prove nothing, I remarked. One of them is from 2 years ago. The other one was taken last night, when I happened to be sitting next to him at dinner. That is it. That is all it is. I know, my father answered, but his tone was delicate, as if he was trying not to irritate me. But she doesn't see it that way right now. Her pals have her back. They claim to have noticed things as well. Like what? He paused. What have they said, Dad? That you were hovering during the rehearsal. That you kept making excuses to talk to him. I know, he said again, quieter this time. I'm just telling you what they said. I felt something cold settle in my chest, and it wasn't just my sister. It was spreading. Where is he? I asked. Her husband. What is he saying? My father looked at my mother, then back at me. He is attempting to calm her down. He explained that you were simply assisting him with his tie, contrary to what she had assumed. However, she does not believe him. She thinks he's defending you. My mother whispered softly. She told him, if he keeps taking your side, it means he's choosing you over her. I stared at her. That's insane, I know. So what is he merely supposed to do? Lie? Pretend I did something I did not do? Neither of them spoke, so I turned toward the doors, the muted noise still filtering through. I could hear music now, faint and awkward, as if someone had restarted the playlist in an attempt to save the night. She's going to tell everyone, I said. She'll spend the rest of the night convincing people that I tried to spoil her wedding. My father's silence was sufficient enough. My phone buzzed again, and I peered down to see a text from one of my cousins. Are you seriously trying to hook up with her husband? My stomach turned. They already think it's true, I remarked gently. My mother reached for my hand. People will forget. It's only wedding drama. It will blow over. No, it won't. I withdrew my hand. You know it won't. This is the current story. This is what people will remember. My father shuffled uncomfortably. If you just apologize for... For what? I repeated, sharper this time. What am I meant to apologize for? For upsetting her? I did not disturb her. She upset herself. She's your sister, he remarked with a frustrated tone. She recently got married. This should be the happiest day of her life. And now it's wrecked, I said. Because of me, right? He didn't refute it, and I looked at my mother, who refused to meet my gaze. Unbelievable, I mumbled. The doors opened again. One of the bridesmaids stepped out, noticed me, and came to a halt, her demeanor changing from icy to sharp. She wants to know if you're coming back in, she told me. To do what? I asked. To apologize. I'm not apologizing for something I didn't do. The bridesmaid's jaw pinched. Then I guess you're okay with ruining her wedding. I didn't ruin anything. That's not how it appears. She crossed her arms. Everyone saw those photos. Everyone overheard what your aunt said. And honestly, the way you've been acting this weekend, it's not difficult to believe. My mother walked forward and said, That's enough. The bridesmaid ignored her, her gaze fixed on me. She's in there bawling her eyes out because her own sister attempted to kidnap her husband on her wedding day. So maybe you should apologize. Get out of my face, I whispered in a quiet voice. She didn't move, and my father placed a hand on my shoulder. Let's simply go. Come on. I shrugged him off and walked quickly back to the exit, my heels tapping sharply on the tile. Behind me, I heard my mother yell my name, but I didn't stop. I pushed through the front doors and out into the night. The air was cool and still, the parking lot half empty, and I could see people moving around inside the venue's windows. The reception continued as if nothing had happened. My phone buzzed again. Another text, another question, another accusation. So I turned it off and continued walking. I made it to my car before the first voicemail arrived. I didn't listen to it, just watched the notification light up my screen, then fade, then another, then a third. I sat in the driver's seat with the door still open, one foot on the pavement, staring at the steering wheel. My hands were shaking, not from cold, but from something deeper, as if it was vibrating up from my ribs. Instead, I sat there, transfixed, while the venue's glass doors gleamed warmly behind me, and the bass line of some generic dance music pulsed softly through the walls. My phone lit up again, this time with a call from my brother, which I answered. "Where are you?" he asked, his voice tense. "Parking lot." "You need to come back inside." "No, listen to me," he urged, and I could hear noise in the background, voices overlapping, someone laughing too loudly. "It's getting worse. She is telling everyone that you have been obsessed with him since they began dating. She says, you agreed to be a bridesmaid merely to be close to him." I closed my eyes and said, "That's not true." "I know that, but she's saying it and people are listening. Let them listen. You don't get it," he replied, frustrated in his tone. "Now she's compiling a list. She's going over every single time you were in the same room with him and reframing it. She informed everyone that you insisted on riding in the same car to the rehearsal dinner. She stated that you asked to sit next to him during brunch last month. She's preparing a case." "A case for what?" "For kicking you out of the family." I opened my eyes. "She can't do that. She's trying." He paused, and I heard him move away from the noise, his voice lowering. "Dad's on her side." My stomach plummeted. "What?" "He isn't saying it outright, but he keeps telling people she's stressed out. Weddings make people emotional. That maybe you should have been more careful with how things appeared." "How did things look?" I repeated, my voice flat. "Yes, I helped him tie a tie. I understand. That is it. That is all I did." "I know," he repeated quietly, "but it doesn't matter. She has convinced people. And the longer you stay away, the more guilty you appear." "So what? I am meant to go back in there and let her scream at me some more. I'm saying if you don't, this will be the story forever. You are the sister who attempted to steal the groom." I didn't respond. "Are you still there? Come back inside," he pleaded. "Just for 5 minutes. Show folks you're not running. Allow everyone to see how calm you are." "I am calm." "Then prove it." I hung up for a long time, simply sat there, phone in my lap, staring at the dashboard. The check engine light had been on for 2 weeks, and I had been meaning to take it in. I kept forgetting. My phone buzzed again. It was a text from a college friend. "Just watched a video. Are you okay?" I gazed at the message. A video. I opened Instagram and searched for my sister's name. Her account was private, but her maid of honors wasn't. The video was already up, posted 6 minutes earlier, and it was shaky. "She's been trying to get between us since day one," my sister said, her voice high and crisp, cutting through the reception noise. The video was shot from a terrible angle on someone's phone, but the audio was clear. "I am not crazy. I am not making this up. Look at the photos. Look how she looks at him." The camera panned slightly, and I saw myself in the background, standing near the exit with my parents. My face was blank. I looked exhausted, and the comments were already coming in. "Yikes. This is a problem, and she doesn't even look apologetic. If my sister did this, I'd never speak to her again." I locked my phone and dropped it on the passenger seat, then got out of the car and headed back toward the venue. The front doors were propped open now, and I could see people milling around in the lobby, holding drinks and talking in low voices. A few of them saw me and went quiet, so I kept walking. Inside, the reception had fractured, and half the room was still trying to pretend everything was fine, dancing stiffly under the string lights while the DJ played something upbeat and desperate. The other half had crowded around the bar and along the perimeter, whispering, phones out, and reloading feeds. My sister was near the head table, surrounded by her bridesmaids. Her complexion was blotchy, mascara streaked, but her eyes were sharp. She saw me the moment I went inside. She pointed. "There!" she yelled, loudly enough to be heard. "There she is!" The music didn't stop, but the excitement did. People turned, conversations ended in mid-sentence, and I proceeded slowly and steadily toward her, keeping my face neutral. Her maid of honor stepped in front of me, arms crossed. "You need to leave." "I'm not leaving," I replied. "She doesn't want you here." "I don't care." My sister rushed past her, her gaze fixed on mine. You have some nerve coming back in here. I didn't do anything, I replied calmly. You've been doing it all weekend, she shouted. Don't think I'm insane. Everyone witnessed it. Everyone knows. Knows what? I asked. Did I assist your husband tie his tie? That I sat next to him at supper because that is where the seating schedule placed me? That I've been nice and helpful even as you've been plummeting? Her face turned crimson. You think you're completely innocent. You assume no one notices, but I see you. I have always seen you. What do you see me doing? Try to take what's mine. I stared at her. You're out of your mind. She slapped me, and the snap resonated across the room, crisp and clean. My cheek stung hot and immediate, and for a second I couldn't move, breathe, or process what had just happened. Someone gasped, and someone else said, "Oh my God." I touched my face, and my fingers came away clean. No blood, just heat. My sister was breathing hard, her hands still raised, her entire body shaking. "Get out," she cried, her voice breaking. "Get out of my wedding." I turned and proceeded toward the exit, my heels sharp against the floor, my face burning. I looked past her to the head table, where her husband stood frozen, his face pale. He opened his mouth as if to say something, but nothing came out. My sister began to weep loudly and theatrically behind me, and the bridesmaids raced to comfort her, but I didn't look back. I made it to the lobby before my mother caught up with me again, grasping my arm and dragging me to a halt. "Wait," she urged breathlessly. "Just wait." I pulled my arm free. "I'm done. She didn't mean it." My mother replied immediately. "She's just—" She hit me. My mother's face collapsed. "I understand, but she isn't herself right now. She's—" "I don't care." My voice was icy and flat. "I'm leaving. Do not follow me." I pushed through the doors and out into the night. The chilly air hit my face like a reset, my cheeks still stinging and my chest tightening. Behind me, through the glass, I could see people watching, phones up, recording. I got in my car, started the engine, and drove. My phone was ringing again, but I didn't look at it. The check engine light glowed steadily on the dash, and I focused on that instead. Something concrete, something fixable. I ended up at a gas station on the outskirts of town, one of those 24-hour places with fluorescent lights that made everything look slightly unreal. I parked under the overhang and turned off the engine. My cheeks still burned from where she had hit me. I pulled down the visor and looked at myself in the mirror. There was a faint red mark along my cheekbone that was already starting to fade. By tomorrow, it would be gone. No evidence, just another thing that happened that I'd have to explain without proof. My phone buzzed again. I picked it up this time. 12 missed calls, 25 messages. I read through them. My brother, my mother, 2 cousins, the college acquaintance, a few folks I hadn't spoken to in years. Suddenly very worried about my well-being, and one from an unknown number. I opened it. "Here's the groom. Can we speak?" I glanced at the message for a long time before typing back. "No." 3 dots emerged instantaneously, disappeared, and reappeared. "Please, I need to explain." "There is nothing to explain. She's not usually like this." I nearly laughed. "I do not care. You should have, but you did not." The dots appeared and remained for about a minute, followed by a response. "I know." I locked my phone and exited the car. Inside the gas station, the clerk hardly looked up. I bought a bottle of water and a bag of pretzels I didn't want and stood by the window, watching cars pass by on the street outside. My phone rang, and it was the same anonymous number. I answered. "I told you I don't want to talk," I replied. "I'm in the parking lot." His voice was hushed and strained. "I can see your car." I looked through the glass and saw him standing next to a car I didn't recognize. He was still dressed in his tuxedo, and the tie I helped him with was loose and crooked. "Go back to your wife," I instructed. "I cannot. Not yet. Not until we talk. We have nothing to talk about. She thinks we're having an affair." "I understand what she believes. She's been thinking about it for months," he replied, his voice cracking slightly. "Every time you were around, every time we were in the same room, she'd discover something. Some look, some word, some moment that confirmed it in her mind. That's not my problem." "I know." He was silent for a second. "But it became your problem tonight, and I allowed it to happen. I let her develop this whole scenario, and I didn't push back hard enough because I believed if I just stayed cool and continued reassuring her, she'd realize she was wrong. She slapped me in front of 150 people. I recall saying, 'She accused me of trying to steal you, like I'm some villain in a soap opera she's been writing in her head.'" "Do you believe a chat will cure that?" "No," he replied. "I don't. I didn't answer, but I need you to know that I never encouraged it." He went on to say, I never gave her any reason to believe there was anything between us, and she still doesn't believe me. Then that's between you and her. She's talking about calling off the marriage. I close my eyes. You're already married. I understand, but she says that doesn't count. That the entire event was a lie because you were present. Because she cannot trust me with you. That's insane. I know. So what do you want from me? I asked, my voice flat. Do you want me to apologize, disappear, pretend I do not exist so she can feel better? I don't know, he answered, sounding fatigued. I just wanted you to know I'm sorry for everything, for not stopping it sooner, for allowing it to progress this far. I opened my eyes and looked at him through the glass. He was standing with his hands in his pockets, shoulders stooped, and staring at the ground. You should go back, I said. I will, and you should figure out if you actually want to be married to someone who thinks you're cheating every time you talk to another woman. He didn't answer, so I hung up and walked back to my car. He was still standing there as I drove away, and I didn't look back. I drove home on autopilot, parked in my driveway, and sat in the dark for a while. The porch light was on, which I'd left on that morning, back when the most important thing I had to worry about was whether my dress fit right. Inside, my apartment was exactly as I'd left it, with shoes by the door and a coffee mug in the sink. The mundane, untouched stillness felt almost insulting after the night I just had. I dropped my bag on the couch and stood in the middle of the living room, still in my bridesmaid dress, and wearing the awful shoes that had been killing me since the ceremony. My phone buzzed, which I ignored. It buzzed again, and I picked it up. It was a text from my brother. She's posting about it. My sister had posted a long caption under a photo of her and the groom from earlier in the night before everything fell apart. They were smiling, arms around each other, and looked like the perfect couple. The caption began, "Today was supposed to be the happiest day of my life." I kept reading. She talked of betrayal, trust, and how difficult it was to watch someone you loved be deceived by someone you thought you could trust. She didn't mention me directly, but she didn't have to. The comments were already filled with people connecting the dots. I'm very sorry this occurred to you. You deserve better. Family can be the worst sometimes. Be strong, Queen. I read deeper. Someone had posted a picture from the video of her ranting at me, and another had shared a zoomed-in photo of my face shortly after she smacked me, captioned, "The look of guilt." I locked my phone and threw it on the couch, then went into the bathroom, took off my dress, and stayed under the shower until the water ran cold. When I got out, I had 35 notifications on my phone, so I turned it off and went to bed. But I did not sleep. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, replaying the night over and over. The toast, the slideshow, the slap, the way everyone had looked at me as if I was the problem. Around 3 o'clock a.m., I heard my phone buzz from the other room, even though it was supposed to be turned off, and I ignored it. At 4 o'clock a.m., I gave up on sleep and prepared coffee. At 5 o'clock a.m., I turned on my phone and noticed a text message from my mother. Your father and I think it's best if you don't come to Sunday dinner for a while, just until things calm down. I read it twice, then deleted it and blocked her phone number. At dawn, I deleted all of the wedding photos from my cloud storage, including the getting ready shots, the ceremony, the reception, and every single image where I smiled next to people who now thought I was a liar. My finger hovered over the trash folder. I pressed permanent delete. By 7 a.m., I had 23 new messages in my inbox, including one from a cousin I barely knew. I just wanted to say I believe you. What she did was terrible. I closed it without answering. Another one came from a different cousin. You should sincerely apologize. She's your sister. Family is forever. I marked it as read and continued on. The video surfaced around 8 p.m. I didn't notice it at first, but my brother gave me a copy with the caption, "It's everywhere." Someone had posted the entire meltdown on TikTok. The toast, the slideshow, the slap, everything. 26 seconds of my sister screaming at me while 150 people watched in stunned silence, ending with me walking out the side door. The caption read, "Sister attacks bridesmaid at her own wedding after accusing her of attempting to steal the groom. Wait for the slap." It started with 30,000 views and grew to 350,000 by lunchtime. The comments were a war zone. The bridesmaid did not do anything. The bride is erratic. Consider spoiling your own wedding because you are jealous of your sister. That slap, however, would have caused me to swing back. Here's what untreated mental illness looks like. Both of them are likely drama queens. Weddings bring out people's worst qualities. I viewed it once, then stopped the app and placed my phone face down on the table. It didn't stop buzzing. My sister called at 1 p.m., but I didn't respond. She called again 10 minutes later, then again, and again, until I answered the fifth time. She said, "Take it down," with no hello or preface. "I didn't post it." "I know you didn't, but you should make them take it down. It is ruining my life." I nearly laughed. "Your life? Perhaps you should not have screamed at me in front of 150 people." Silence. I was upset. She finally murmured, quieter now. "You don't comprehend what it's been like to watch you two together and see the way he looks at you. He doesn't look at me in any manner which you don't notice because you're not paying attention. But I do. I've always seen it." "There's nothing to see." "You tied his tie," she added, her voice cracking. "You were in the room with him alone, touched him, and he let you. He requested me for aid because his hands were shaking. It took 25 seconds. It should have been me." I closed my eyes. "You were getting your makeup done. It should have been me," she said loudly. "Everything should have been about me. It was my wedding and my day, and you still managed to make it all about yourself." "I did not make anything about myself." "You did?" She was crying now, full sobs that distorted her voice across the phone. "Everyone thinks I am nuts. They claim I'm abusive, that I am a bridezilla, that he should leave me. Maybe they are right." The phone line went dead, and I set it down and stared at the wall. My mother called an hour later. "You need to fix this," she replied. "I did not break it. You're making things worse. People assume you're vengeful when you don't reply or try to make things right." "I'm not being anything. I am staying out of it." "That's not how it looks." Her voice was tight and controlled, as if she was trying hard not to yell. "Your sister is falling apart. She's discussing nulling the marriage. She's claiming she can't trust him or anyone, and you're just sitting there letting it happen." "I won't allow anything happen. She made her decision. She's your sister." She slapped me in front of everyone and accused me of lying. She was emotional. She was cruel. My mother paused for a bit before saying, "If you don't try to make peace, people will think you're the problem." "People already think I'm the problem." "Not everyone. Enough people," she groaned. "Your father and I just want this to stop. We want our family back." "Then tell her to apologize." "She's not going to apologize." "Then I guess it's not going away." I hung up before she could react. The family group chat was chaotic. I had muted it after the wedding, but curiosity got the best of me, and I opened it around dinner time. I scrolled to the top of the 180 unread messages and saw that my aunt had posted a link to the video with the description. "This is really terrible. Praying for everyone involved." Someone else responded, "She should not have left. Walking out made everything worse." She had no choice. What was she supposed to do? Stand there and accept it? Nah, she could have tried to talk to her sister instead of making a scene. She did not cause the scene. The bride did. Both of them were out of line. How did the bride get out of line? She literally stood there. She should not have knotted the groom's tie. That's odd. Oh my God, it isn't odd. It is a tie. You guys are acting as if she kissed him. I'm just suggesting that boundaries matter. This whole thing is so embarrassing for the family. I put my phone in a drawer and locked it. The next morning, my sister posted on Facebook, which I didn't see until my brother shared it with me, with the remark, "She's losing it." The message was lengthy, like a full essay, and she discussed betrayal, trust, and the agony of witnessing someone you love being exploited by someone who was supposed to care about you. She didn't mention my name, but the message was clear. Some people will smile in your face while tearing your life apart behind your back. Her words were, "Some people will pretend to support you while they're waiting for you to fail, and some people will never admit what they've done, even when the evidence is right in front of them." The comments were split. "I'm very sorry you're going through this. You deserve better. This is heartbreaking. Stay strong. Maybe take some time offline and focus on your marriage instead of airing this publicly. She's free to handle her emotions in whichever way she needs to. Processing feelings is one thing. Public accusations are another." I didn't say anything. I didn't respond. I just closed the app and went for a run. When I returned, there was a message from the groom, which I almost erased without listening to. His voice was hushed and strained. "I just wanted to let you know I'm moving out. Not permanently, maybe. I'm not sure, but I can't stay in the house right now. She is certain that I am in love with you, and nothing I say will change her view. I have tried everything. Nothing works. Not even therapy, discussion, or space. So I'm staying with a friend for a time till we figure out what to do next." He paused. The message ended and I saved it. Not sure why. By the end of the week, the talk had spread across the extended family. I learned about it from my brother, who heard about it from our father, who heard about it from his sister. Apparently, my sister had told everyone that the groom had moved out because he couldn't deal with the guilt of what he'd done. There was no mention of her paranoia, no acknowledgement of the accusations, just a clean, simple narrative in which she was the victim and he was the coward who abandoned her. Some people believed it, but others began to question it. If he cheated, why isn't she angrier? If he's guilty, why is she still supporting him? If the bridesmaid did something wrong, why hasn't anyone mentioned what it was? The cracks were beginning to appear. 2 weeks later, a college classmate called. I talked to someone who attended the wedding. She mentioned one of the groomsmen. He explained, "Your sister has been acting paranoid for months, that she had accused him of flirting with the bridesmaids, accused the best man of siding with him, and accused random visitors of judging her." He stated everyone was walking on eggshells the entire time since they had no idea what might set her off. "Why are you telling me this?" I asked. "Because people are starting to realize she's the problem, not you." I did not respond. "I realize you don't want to become involved," she added, "but you should be aware that the narrative is altering. People are talking, but not in the way she desires." "Good," I replied and hung up. A month after the wedding, my mother contacted me again. "She's getting therapy," she explained. "Therapy and meds?" "She's trying." "Okay." "She's not ready to apologize yet, but she's working on it. I'm not holding my breath." "She's your sister," my mother repeated, as if it were a magic sentence that would solve everything. "She's also the person who slapped me in front of 150 people and then blamed me for ruining her life." She was struggling. So was I. My mother did not have a response for that. The groom filed for divorce 2 months after the wedding, and I learned about it from a mutual acquaintance who tagged him in a vague post about new beginnings and selecting yourself on Facebook. He didn't post about it. My sister called me that night. I didn't respond. She left a voicemail. "I hope you're happy," she said. She continued, her tone flat and chilly. "You got what you wanted. He's gone. The marriage is over. Congratulations." I deleted it before finishing. After that, the apology began to arrive in the form of quiet texts from those who had judged me at the wedding, distant relatives who had assumed I was the problem, and a few bridesmaids who had blocked me in the group chat. "I am sorry I did not speak up. I'm very unhappy with how things turned out." None of them said it publicly, and none of them supported me where it counted, but they did say it, which was something. I didn't answer the majority of them. 3 months after the divorce was finalized, I ran into the groom at a downtown coffee shop. He was ordering at the counter when I walked in, and our eyes met for half a second. He nodded, and I nodded back. Neither of us said anything, and I got my coffee and left before he finished paying. That was the end of our interaction. Despite the fact that no one apologized, the 30 seconds of shared space felt like the end. My sister moved back in with my parents a few weeks later, and I learned about it from my brother, who said she was doing better, but still wasn't ready to chat. I didn't press, and the video soon disappeared from TikTok, flagged and removed for breaching some vague community policy. By then it had been reposted a dozen times on other platforms, but the views had plateaued and people had moved on to the next viral meltdown. I deleted my social media entirely, not out of anger or shame, but out of exhaustion, and my phone stopped buzzing. The family group chat still exists, but I left it months ago, and my brother now sends me individual updates when something significant happens. I don't inquire about my sister, and she doesn't ask about me. Some fractures do not heal. They simply stop bleeding. I retained one shot from the wedding, not from the slideshow or the ceremony, but a candid taken during setup before everything imploded. I'm giggling off camera while holding a box of centerpieces.